welcome to Naval Gazing in Camp David. This week's guest yacht is from a relatively new brand who took their craft across the Med to their yards in Tunisia, the Aventura 37. Today, we're going to review its specifications, pricing, and layout against three similar new vessels, do a full tour asking what would Sylvia say, and I think Sylvia would have a lot of positive things to say about this yacht. Naval gaze at an innovation and or adjustment that might make life aboard a little easier. Have a look at the used market at 5 to 3-year-old pre-owned comparables. And finally, give it a Dave score and compare it to all the other yachts we've reviewed so far. Hovering high above Vancouver, BC, we fly across the Atlantic to the home of last week's yacht, the Fountain Peugeot 45 on the west coast of France near La Rochelle. From there, we fly east across the continent and across the Mediterranean to the coast of Tunisia and the yards of Aventura Catamaran. Our wine pairing this week was a tad more challenging. Winemaking is an interesting part of Tunisia's past. Nearly 2,500 years ago, that ancient Carthaginian writer Mago wrote extensively about his knowledge of viniculture. After Mago's time, grape cultivation continued. Today, it's an important industry in Tunisia. Unlike other historical sites, there are no ancient ruins to help bring the story to life. Instead, it's the present-day vineyards that attest to the long tradition of grape cultivation and winemaking in Tunisia. However, I could not find anyone who carried Tunisian wine in Vancouver, so I thought I would take the opportunity to fly you back across the Atlantic to the tip of the North American desert that extends into Canada in British Columbia and our wonderful Okanagan wine region. Our wine this week is Phantom Creek Estates 2019 Cabo Vineyard Merlot. This 100% Merlot comes from our famed Cabo Vineyard on the Gold Mile Bench. The nose of this wine exhibits ripe fruit notes of black plum and black currant with hints of cassis, leather, herbs, de Provence. The palate is rich and concentrated, displaying baked dark cherry and plum wrapped around with sweet spice notes of clove, leading to an earthy finish of cedar and tobacco. This Merlot is full-bodied, well-balanced, with plush tannins and pleasing finish. And I hope you're enjoying the view of this extraordinary winery. This past summer, I took my beloved on our anniversary along with my sister and her husband to a fabulous executive tasting at Phantom Creek Estates. The owner here has invested $200 million in building this extraordinary facility, buying up at least 4 different vineyards in different locations, and you can see the result here. It is absolutely spectacular. If you have a chance to travel to BC's wine region, I strongly recommend it. Oh, you're really gonna like that food in BC. Let's go have a look at that yacht. Looking at the outside of the Aventura 37, you know, she's not as boxy as a Bally and not as sleek as a Fountain Peugeot, but she's a nice looking yacht, and handsome is as handsome does, as my dear little mother used to say. The vessel has a very nice fly lounge, which is extraordinary for a 37-foot yacht. Great sail area, decent performance, and a good sail area over displacement rating. So let's move into now the comparables. We're going to look this week at the Aventura 37, the Seacat 37, the Nautitech 40, and the Dragonfly 40, something really different. You can see in the profiles here, the Aventura has quite a high freeboard compared to the others. But it's a good looking vessel. That reverse bow looks nice. Your sail area on the Aventura 37 is the greatest at 94 square meters. Heading onto the cabin top, and I do apologize, I couldn't find a single line drawing of any of these vessels in their cabin tops. But you can see that the Aventura is the only one with a fly lounge. Now, the Seacat certainly has loads of space for solar, but there's decent space for solar on the remaining area of the cabin top on the Aventura 37, as well as if you flew a panel off the back. Of course, the profile or the overtop of the Dragonfly 40 with its wings extended is absolutely extraordinary. Those amas and that main hull, this was the sexiest boat at the show. I mean, if I could have a boat like this that was 80 feet with the interior of an oyster, I'd be the happiest guy on earth doing 25 knots across the ocean. Now, as we head into the saloon, you can see the saloon for the 37 is quite extensive compared to all the rest. Look at the depth of that saloon fore aft. And the width is strong as well. The Seacat is a little wider, but you really do feel a lack of depth when you're in the Seacat 37. Naughty-Tech definitely feels small. I'm not a big fan of the Naughty-Tech 40 layout. And of course the Dragonfly 40, you got to expect a very narrow hull in the center hull, and that's the only space you've got. So the Aventura did it very, very nicely. Moving into the cabin area, you can see the Aventura 37 has surprisingly narrow hulls, almost as narrow as the Seacat 37, which is a performance cruiser, much narrower than the Naughty-Tech 40. And of course, you can't compare it to the Dragonfly 40, but you can see there's good comfort in the Aventura 37, and you're going to see decent performance in the numbers that we're about to look at. Let's zoom in on the price here. The Aventura 37 is at 268,000 euros base. The closest is the Seacat at 296, which is a great value, although I'm sure that has increased since this was originally quoted. The Naughty-Tech is at 400 and the Dragonfly is at 500. At 268,000 euro, this is a fantastic value. There was a journalist a couple of years ago that did Aventura a huge disservice by titling his article, "The Cheapest Cruising Catamaran Available." There is nothing cheap, in the negative sense of that word, about this vessel. Looking at the statistics, you can see displacement on this is at a modest 7.9 ton. That's versus the Naughty-Tech at 8.5. And then, of course, the other two, the Seacat is at 5 ton, and the Dragonfly is at a tiny 5.6 ton. The upwind sail area on the Aventura is 94 square meter, and we've already identified that was the highest. The tankage on the Aventura is the highest at 500 liters each, with the closest on fuel being the Naughty-Tech, and the Naughty-Tech then has 600 on water. The actual hull construction, I would have to give it a tie here between the Aventura and the Seacat. Aventura being vacuum infusion, foam core, ISO, and epoxy resins, with the Seacat being foam core sandwich construction, vacuum infused epoxy vinyl resin, and quadraxle e-glass. Actually, now that I'm reading this again, sorry, I'd have to give that to the Seacat. The sail area over displacement. So the Seacat rocks. It's at 29.03, with the next one, of course, being the Dragonfly, but I was really surprised it beat out the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly's 28.33. And the Aventura at a very respectable 24.1 for this kind of vessel. The displacement over hull length, again, is the best on the Seacat at 102, with the Dragonfly, of course, at 107 being the next, and the Naughty-Tech actually being 140 the next. So the Aventura on heaviness is the heaviest of the lot, with the D over L at 169. So overall, on the Bruce number, you've got the Seacat, of course, again in the lead, with the Dragonfly next, the Aventura next, and taking up the aft is the Naughty Tech 40. If you're enjoying what you see here, please subscribe, click a like, and share this with a couple of friends. And gentlemen, as you know, we're about 100% male viewership here, and that's not helping my cause with Sylvia. If you could possibly talk to your wives, if they enjoy sailing, have them subscribe, have them leave comments that encourage Sylvia that this is a great idea. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks very much. Hopping on board, what would Sylvia say? And I got to tell you, I think short of the size of this vessel, Sylvia would love it. Looking up, you see your soft furnishings there, beautifully done. Not a lot of stretches or wobbles in it. Looks really good. Those nice compound curves there. The underside of the bimini, beautifully faired, polished, embedded pot lights. Moving up, you got nice teak. You got a great barbecue sitting right there. And look at this aft settee, even the stitching details there. Beautiful day bed over on the starboard side, and a nice teak table. Not the thickest, but it's not a plank like you see in some of these others. The stairs are teak, although I'd love to see some of the detailing that Fountain Peugeot puts in there. But now, coming into the saloon, look at every aspect of this. It almost reminds me of an Outremer. Look at the curved edges on every corner. Your built-in fiddles, the curved edge on the cabinetry. Everything is integrated beautifully. Your forward-facing nav or side-facing nav, depending on which way you're sitting, looks great. Doesn't take up too much space. And look at this refrigerator freezer. It's this 37-foot cat. Look at the curve on the corner there, the built-in TV, beautiful looking settee. And I mean, look at the leather finish with your chrome fittings there. Man, this is a good looking yacht in every way. Heading down the stairs, I always look at the stairs. There's nothing on the edge. I would like to have seen a little finish in the edge. But when I come down, look at that wall sconce and the curved edges and the compound curves in that makeup table there. You've even got a beautiful little settee there. But look at the curve there, the detail. It's gorgeous. Moving to the aft, look at the soft cover on the bulkhead edge. I mean, I haven't seen that on anyone else's boat. It just adds a sense of quality and class to this thing. It really is beautifully done. Your bunk, of course, is sandwiched in there pretty good, as it must be on a vessel of this size. And, as you recall, the hulls are quite narrow. Look at the combination of soft furnishing, matte finish, and gloss finish. It is really, really well done. Now, this is interesting. It's almost a little walk-in closet alcove nook thing. I love it. I'd have loved a little bit of a door on there, but I love it. Moving into the head, you've got a really nicely laid out head here. Huge window space, beautiful separate shower, nice teak flooring. The sink is a good size. Lots of counter space for the pharmacy. It's all there. And you got lots of storage. Moving up now into the saloon again, that table drops down and turns into another day bed or berth if you need such. And we'll head down now. But look at this TV. Look at the way it's built in. Look at the nice finish of that frosted glass on that little alcove. Oh, no, there is no frosted glass. Sorry about that, guys. Trick of the eyes. Heading down, and you've got your lights lighting each step. Beautiful shine on the head door. You're moving into the cabin here, of course, the berth. Massive windows on both sides, not just one side, but both sides. Again, that beautiful curved finish on the Alpi wood. Everywhere there's curves. I mean, Katana, could you take a lesson or just hire their interior designers across the way at Aventura? Because your beautiful 50 could really use this. Have a note at that at the toilet there, folks. You didn't see any exposed plumbing like we did on the FP. This is really well done. Now we're heading into the bow berth. Of course, a single berth, beautiful windows. There's nothing cramped or claustrophobic about this. Lots of space, and again, the soft touch around the frame there. There are so many aspects that sort of speak subtly to your subconscious about the quality and the sense of quality on this vessel, short of the fact that there's no nice polished steel on the front of those stairs. But nobody's perfect. We're back up into the saloon, and I mean, the windows slide back, the door slides back, flat entry level. Up the stairs we go. I wish they'd use the Fountain Peugeot treads, but we can deal with that. We're heading up now into the helm. Beautiful big line bag there, stops the spaghetti and the tripping hazards. All your controls are at your fingertips, your winches, everything's there, but it is a separate line handling area, so you can have two. I'm not sure how many drinks the driver of this thing needs, or cappuccinos, but his hair is going to be on fire if he uses all those drink holders. The helm, nicely laid out. Everything's there. It reminds me of the Fountain Peugeot helm with the separate line area. Actually, the Neil has that as well. Really nicely done. So you could effectively have two people managing this. Your view to both aft hulls is unobstructed, really nice, and your view on the bow hulls equally good, probably better than most. Heading up the side, you can see those nice safety rails, and the lifeline, or death line as I like to call it, just isn't high enough, but nobody's is. I'd rather have rigid rails like they have on a couple of these yachts, like the Privilege. The lazy bag and mast, you got a double spreader there, and we've retained a little bit of the front netting, and we've got a faux front cockpit, but you can see where the extra space in the actual saloon came from. Now, navel gazing. It is a mystery to me, and it rather disturbs me a little bit when I hear about the challenges of a spinnaker or Code D. I've watched the guys from Portland talk about the challenges they had with theirs and trying to learn how to use it. Everybody else seems to make using that sock look easy, but I've always wondered, why are they doing this? Why are they manhandling this sail down, or using a sock that gets stuck, or the wind catches it? There's no way you're getting that sock down when you could have a top-down furler or a furling Code D or furling asymmetric. I mean, look at how simple this is. Why would anyone have anything else? You simply pull it out, put it up before you go sailing, and as you need it, you whip it out, and when you need to jibe, you pull it back in, easy peasy, move the lines over to the other side and pull it back out, easy peasy. You need one person, you don't need two. This is perfect for your live-aboard cruiser. So if anybody out there has any inclination why this isn't basically a standard on every single vessel right now, please let me know. I'm sure there's a bunch of you that have really good reasons for that, but this just seems like an absolute no-brainer to me. Back on board. It's funny. I don't see princess seats here, so maybe that's an option. I would have thought for sure it would have it. Thankfully, there's a bit of a net. It's still quite romantic. I do like the net. And you got beautiful sun pads there with a bit of a pop-up for your neck. You can see the area across the top that you could have for solar, so plenty of that. Look at that fabulous day bed. Now we're going to head up onto the sun pad and the fly lounge. It's just a sun pad with with pillows around, but so was the Lagoon 50 for its duration. And this is a 37-foot yacht. It's like less than 250 grand. You know, I don't know what else to say. There is nothing about this yacht that feels cheap. It feels well built. It feels like it has quality materials. Every aspect is well thought through, well engineered. It has high-end finishing touches like the compound curves. I mean, it's a really nice vessel. And for the buck, you are getting a great bargain. Quick look around that lovely cockpit again. You can see you got lots of room. Moving into pre-owned comparables. So our first yacht today is going to be a Lagoon 380 S2. So bearing in mind the Aventura 37 sail away price, we're adding 50% to the base so that you're at a sail away USD of 402. The Lagoon 380 S2 2018, that's a 4-year-old vessel, is $274,000. It's a good discount. I still would struggle because Aventura has done so much with the space they've got here. It feels like way more vessel. I would be tempted, assuming I had the financial wherewithal, to go with the new Aventura. Next, we're looking at the Seawind 1160 Light. This is a 2018, so again, a 4-year-old boat. Our new Aventura is 402. The used 4-year-old Seawind is 450. I know, like, Seawind builds a beautiful boat, don't get me wrong. But I'd take my chances with the new comer here with Aventura because it just has so much to offer. And in this case, it's, 40, 50 grand cheaper for a new boat. Next one, Fountain Peugeot Lucia 40. It's a 2020, 2-year-old boat. Again, we're up against 402 on the Aventura. They are looking for 518. Not a hope in Hades. I would go with the Fountain Peugeot in this case. The Aventura would have my buck all day long. Okay, moving on to the Dave score. And I want to remind y'all, as opposed to the standard, well-used marketing phrase of designed by sailors for sailors, I don't think that counts in my case, because that's not going to get me out onto the water. What my phrase would be designed by sailors, along with a focus group of 45 to 55-year-old women, for sailors' wives, so that they will go sailing with sailors around the world. That would be my phrase. Not as slick, I know, but there you go. And that explains the perspective on the Dave score. So, looking at the Dave score, the Aventura did great for the reasons that we've talked about in this tour. If I look at this vessel, I forget that it's 37 feet long. On elegance, the interior, I'd have to give it an 8. There are so many elements to this that remind me of an Outramare. And that's a 37-foot vessel. For the exterior, I'd have to give it an 8. How do you stuff a fly lounge onto a 37 and get away with it? And have a faux front cockpit, and have a nice cockpit, and a great saloon. Comfort. I'm going to give it a 7 on the interior. The only thing that doesn't give that more is it's only 37 feet long. The exterior, I'm going to give it a 7. Again, it has all those elements. It's a terrific buy. Quality, the feel, I'm not a carpenter, I'm not a boat builder, but the feel and the impression of quality was a solid 8. Performance, look, it's got 24 SA over D. That's a good performing yacht. It's a little heavy, but it's not a lead sled. Lazy sailor, give it a 6. There's not a lot, of extra things here to make it that much easier. Condo, give it a 5, only because it's too small to feel like a condo. If this was a big brother, it would be way up there. Geek, about 6. There's nothing real special. Value for money, this knocks it out of the park, in my opinion, at a 9 out of 10. Giving us a total score of 71. putting it right in line with 50 and 48 foot cats. And honestly, I think it deserves that. That being said, my earnest hope is that Aventura will not only release their new 44, which they're going to do, and by all accounts, it's beautiful, but that they will release a 49 to 50 foot version. I think from what I've seen on this vessel, from what I saw on their 14 meter power cat, their ability to create something that oozes quality, class, and style and hits exactly the tone that I'm looking for and my wife is looking for, it's extraordinary, not to mention their sheer dominant value proposition. So Aventura, please bring out that 50 foot. We'd love to see it. For our Art of the Region this week, we're looking at Tunisian painter and sculptor of Turkish origin, Zubair Turki. Born in 1924, died in 2009. Born in the Medina of Tunis to a family of Turkish origin, Turki studied at the University of Zitouna and the Institute for Advanced Studies, while taking classes at the Tunis Institute of Fine Arts in Tunis. In 1946, he held a position in the administration before being recruited by French schools to teach Arabic. In 1952, he was forced into exile for having participated in the auctions of the Tunisian nationalist movement Neo d'Histoire. He settled in Sweden from 1953 to 1958, where he joined the Academy of Fine Arts in Stockholm. Turki paintings drew their inspiration in matters of Tunisian culture and its traditions, portraying characters and scenes of everyday Tunis. Building a collective memory of Tunisia made his work a unique style which earned him international recognition. Well, I hope you enjoy the painting, the wine, and this extraordinary yacht. Join me next week when we take another adventure. Remember, gentlemen, ask your wives to subscribe and comment positive, lovely comments about circumnavigation from my beautiful Sylvia. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Cheers.